So today we have our first INFP guest on the channel.
Hi everybody, my name is Hillary from INFX TV here on YouTube. I'm super excited to do this video with Love Who today for you guys. Just gonna be talking about what it means to be an INFP, what some of the weird things about INFPs you might not know.
Question 1. How did you figure out that you were an INFP?
So, it was a journey, right? Isn't life a journey for us all? So, it took a long time to figure out I was an INFP because I couldn't figure out which judging functions I preferred. It was pretty obvious that I used extroverted intuition heavily and that I also used introverted sensing. But it seemed that I was using introverted feeling and extroverted feeling equally. So for a long time, I actually typed myself as an INTP. And I think part of this is because the concept of accuracy resonated with me about this internal accuracy. What I didn't realize was that introverted feeling is a kind of accuracy. It's an accuracy for emotions, for understanding the complexities of emotional reasoning and intent and why you do things, motivations, why things are how they are, right? From like a humanistic emotional standpoint. Once I realized that, it became much more clear that it was actually introverted feeling I was using and not introverted thinking, right? I suck at introverted thinking. Another thing that helped me realize I was INFP was actually realizing I was an Enneagram 9. It made sense that I had a lot of FE kinds of qualities and that I was concerned with those kinds of things. If anybody out there is having a difficulty trying to figure out your MBTI, look into Enneagram, look into other systems and see if those can help you. And I'd always been familiar with MBTI like since high school, but I didn't really start going in depth with the study until I was out of college. And I took a whole class on personality in college, but that was more kind of like research based and talking about all different kinds of personality tests. So it touched on MBTI, but blah, blah, blah. So anyway, once I started diving into it, Personality Junkie was like the number one website that I used. Also, I remember just looking at people in my life who I could type way easier than I could type myself and being like, okay, no, that's not me. That's not me. That's not my quality. And then narrowing it down that way also helped me.
Question 2. How does extroverted sensing, which is your polar function, show up in your life?
So for the INFP, our seventh function, our trickster function, our polar function is extroverted sensing. This is an important function. This is my theory, is that this is a huge opportunity for growth for INFPs. I have experienced this time and time again. I've experienced the stresses of this function. If I'm having like a horribly anxious day, things just aren't going right, I'm just like not with it, I feel very hindered physically when this function is like when I'm not in a good place and this function is like freaking out. It almost feels like I can't move through the air, or like I have tunnel vision. I trip more, I injure myself more. I will even I'll go upstairs and I will like miscount steps and like not know where to step. It's literally like the physical world is somehow this like alien place and I don't belong there. I feel very, very held up internally. However, this function is magical. And what I mean by that is if you can gauge your SE, if you can do things that get you to command your presence in the physical world, you'll find your voice. You'll be able to have more confidence. Okay, so how does this work in INFPs? What you will get out of this function is a sense of belonging in the world. A sense that you can go anywhere you want, you can do what you want, you can occupy space, right? But these things, you literally have to do those things. You have to occupy space. You have to be loud. Don't be scared to make a noise or to ruffle feathers, to touch something. Like, you know, those things inherently, like, I can remember years ago, like, I didn't want to make a lot of noise. I didn't want to be disruptive. I wanted to keep to myself. Everyone does their own thing, blah, blah, blah. I'm in my head, do. But once I started to really like own my space and not be afraid of other people hearing me, other people knowing that I freaking like exist, whoa, let me tell you, it is life-changing. Another way to engage your SE is to go and travel by yourself. So you're not relying on someone else, and try to stay off of your phone. Talk to people, hop on a bus, get to a city you've never been. Get on a bus. Go find yourself a bus stop. Stand there. A bus will come by. I guarantee it. If you're unsure, you can look at the schedule. They haven't posted there. Get on that bus and go. You talk to someone. You say, hey, I'm in town for the day. What should I do? Where should I go? You learn your way around the city. You use your resources. You become a master of the world that way. And of, well, perhaps a master of yourself in the world, right? You can trust yourself. You can gain that confidence that you can do stuff. One last thing about SE that I'll say is, and how it plays out in this role for INFPs, I think, is there's this like hesitation when it comes to like doing things or facing a physical challenge. Like a simple example would be like jumping over a gate, or like there's rocks in a stream and you're going from one rock to another and you kind of got to jump a little bit. There's a gap. INFPs will hesitate. Very careful. If it's a new physical challenge, very, very careful. Don't be. Just go for it and trust your body. You have to keep the momentum up. So establish the momentum you want and follow it. Let it carry you. Trust those forces outside of your own hesitation.
Question 3. Do you have a role that you commonly take in your relationships?
I think the answer to this that is the most summarized is therapist. I think what really happens is people feel that I am accepting and open and interested, and so they feel that they can face themselves, and so they share themselves, and I listen. And I think when I was younger, even just like a few years back, I listened a lot more than I talked, and I think now I've decided to take more of an active role in that and actually say, like, yeah, you know, this is my opinion on what you should do, right? And this is then my own personal development coming through, where I'm trying to make my own presence known, my own opinions known in the world. But anyway, my role for others is that of holding space for people and offering them a chance to be okay with who they are and to express whatever. I'm having a foot cramp. Express whatever they need to. I also think that if you know me, you know I'm weird. I'm so weird and don't really hide it. I don't really know how to hide it. So I think that somehow calms people, or at least lets them feel like they can be weird and then they feel accepted. I don't really know. But yeah, I'll talk to you about pretty much anything.
Question 4. What are those struggles in life that frustrate you the most about being an INFP?
There are the typical weaknesses that we talk about that are known I think one of the main ones is, right, our really low level extroverted thinking. We're really bad at finishing things, follow through with gaining momentum to do. Action is difficult. But what I really want to talk about, I really want to talk about is change. Change is a common theme for INFPs, and they can seem to embody change, but I think change is something that INFPs forget. INFPs struggle with this. When high-level introverted feelers in general, I think, are in a feeling, that's it. You can run with it, you can sit in it, it's there and it's consuming. What we struggle with is to get out of that, to realize that this is temporary. Everything's temporary. Everything. Any positive feeling, any negative feeling, it's not forever. There are things, whether they come from inside of you or whether they come from somewhere else, whether you're in charge of them, whether you're not, you're going to be smacked by some kind of change. And I think the more you can accept this and realize it, the more you're okay. The more you understand that you can value wherever you are intensely and find what you need out of that and move on. Change, yeah, embrace it. Know it's going to happen. It's fine.
Question 5. What are the strengths that you enjoy bringing to the world as an INFP?
I think something that's not talked about as often with INFPs, but it's definitely something that I've noticed is, and that I relate to, is that we use humor a lot to diffuse tension. And this can be really helpful when there's like a conflict or when somebody's upset or angry. Just knowing how to laugh at a situation, I think, is a really great thing. Another thing is there's a sense of freedom that INFPs have and that they embody, and I think it's really refreshing, and I think it allows other people to join in with that. I guess another strength of INFPs, which is a little more stereotypical, but is definitely applicable and true, is that INFPs are creative, deep souls. And when INFPs express that part of themselves, it hits something in other people. And I think it connects people to a sense of humanity. The last thing I want to do is give a piece of advice to INFPs. So, my piece of advice to you INFPs is to say yes to things. When an opportunity comes your way, say yes, take it, see what happens. If there's something you're scared to do, if somebody asks you to do something, you feel reserved about it, say yes anyway. Say yes and say yes, right? Because when we make decisions, a lot of times it's a multi-step process. Say yes and no, like it's just a string. You're never forced to do anything, but the more things you do, the more perspective you have, the more experiences you have, the more you will thrive. The more you will give yourself the best chance. So it's okay to take a risk. It's okay to say yes and be scared at the same time. You know? Like, this is your life. Say yes. And finally, I just want to say thank you to Love Who for having me on here and for being able to just say a few things about how I perceive INFPs, how my experience as an INFP has brought me here. Maybe you guys learned something you didn't know about INFPs. Maybe you related to this. Maybe you didn't. Let us know. Thanks for watching. Bye.